everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Project Oarai. And we're finally getting round to actually starting this dock, and I won't lie, I've been kind of a little bit nervous about starting it. Well, I say starting it after I started it for like an hour, and I realized just how difficult and how many working components and different stuff I've had to micromanage around each other. I wasn't expecting this to be as difficult as what it was. Not only that, the space that I've set aside for this it's very large, but it's needed for the amount of detail and realism that I've tried to at least put into it. And what I kind of mean by this is I wanted pipelines almost hooked up to everything to give it that sense that everything's connected, it's all got a purpose, it's just not all hidden underground and that's it. And there are going to be some parts where I've kind of hidden them underneath ground, and you can see like the pipelines going down under and then they come out somewhere else. But for the most part, especially with using Google Earth as a reference, I've tried to keep all of this above ground, and I noticed, especially from Google Earth, that the pipelines are quite chunky and thick, and they look like they're quite weathered, you know, and a little bit rusty in places, and you know, they don't look brand new or whatnot. There's going to be certain areas that, from what I've seen on Google Earth, they do look brand new, so we'll be changing some of them. And not only that, I'm kind of limited by the assets as well with what I wanted to do. As well as that, there are some fantastic pipeline assets on the workshop, different colors, so it's definitely helped me put together pretty much what I needed, especially with the one that you can see me using right now. It's varied in colors and it's a network, so I can stretch this and bend it wherever I want. I don't have to worry about lining the props up and making sure everything meets, and I've got a little bit of OCD about stuff like that. Like, stuff has to be in line and it can't be out of line or else it bugs me. So it was really nice to just have a network here that I could bend into shape and just kind of move places, and it just kind of does it itself. You know, it doesn't take a lot of me just micromanaging it, moving it, copying, pasting it, all that type of stuff. So that's helped out greatly. As well as I did want some of the pipelines, eventually they are going to be going into the sea, which I thought would kind of be pretty cool. So you could see like some pipelines that go off into the sea and then they come into the mainland. I thought that would be pretty cool. So we've got some of that as well. As well as, not only that, I wanted this oil field, oil tanker area to actually be usable in the game, rather than it just be a lot of PO'd items. So I've tried to incorporate as many vanilla assets as I could. Now, I have hidden some of them inside of the buildings, and that's only because I thought it wouldn't make sense for me to have oil drilling stuff in the same area as where all these oil tanks are, and I couldn't really see any of that on Google Earth. So, and I wanted to kind of copy that area semi-close, just with a few tweaks here and there, because obviously I've kind of got limited room to build with as well. But for the most part, using the vanilla assets has actually been pretty good, because I don't really tend to use a lot of vanilla assets, but I think that these oil ones, they actually look very nice, actually, to be honest. And I've used them a lot in places, and with like what I said, I wanted this to actually be usable. Like what I said, I've hidden some stuff inside of the buildings, but for the most part, the stuff that you see, like the oil tanks and a lot of the bigger buildings, they're all, well, I shouldn't say all, but the majority of them are working. And a little bit later on in the episode, towards the end of it, we are going to be using a unique factory as well that's going to be kind of processing the oil that we've had. And I think that's kind of cool that it actually works. For the most part, it works. So I'm really happy about that, because I wasn't sure if I could kind of, especially with the size that I've got and the area and what I kind of wanted to do, I wasn't sure if I could get it to work. I know after tinkering with it for a while, when I hid some of the buildings inside of buildings to hide them, I'd forgotten about them. Because I have a brain like a goldfish and I forget about 5 seconds afterwards. And I was like, what's going on? There's like 40 trucks randomly just driving around, and I'm like, what's making these 40 trucks appear? I kid you not, there was 40 trucks going about, and it was crazy. So I had to delete some of them because 40 trucks in the area was just a little bit too much. But we've sorted it, and there's a really cool area coming up where it's going to be the fuel trucks actually drive. Well, they don't actually drive there. I've had to do it with like props and stuff because obviously I can't get them to actually drive in there themselves, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's okay. I've made up for it by making the rest of it work. But yeah, they're gonna like refuel there, and then they drive out to the gas stations and fill them up and other places around the city, which I think is just really cool, to be honest. Because I never thought when I started this that I could even get the oil area to kind of work. So the fact that it kind of has is really cool, and I'm happy about it. Now, I will say that later on in the episode, as well as coming up kind of shortly-ish, there's kind of some cutaways, and the reason I've done some cutaways is because there's only so many oil tanks that you can see me detail around with fences and pipes before it's kind of just the same thing. And you don't want to watch 20-30 minutes of me just pulling pipelines and fences across oil tanks just over and over again. So I've done like one or two, and then the rest I just haven't shown because, like what I said, it's just copy and paste. And the same goes for a lot of like putting down the trees and the bushes. I've shown the majority of the ones that I thought were kind of relevant, and a lot of like the in-between stuff I haven't bothered showing. I've just kind of skipped over it because it just felt like filler for the sake of filler. Okay, so this isn't really so much about the episode at the moment, but if you'll remember in not last week's episode, because I didn't do an episode last week, because I skipped it to work on this dock episode because I felt it needed a lot more time in the oven, if that makes sense. But yeah, in my last episode, I should say, I talked about kind of feeling burnt out doing the same stuff over and over and over again. So to kind of not get that feeling, because I'm not burnt out on the game, not at all. I love the game. Building this stuff, even though it can be quite tricky and stressful and annoying at times, it is very relaxing. I know it's kind of weird, but I find it very relaxing. But I kind of get a little bit, I'm gonna say, creatively and mentally burnt out if I'm doing the same kind of area over and over. And I spoke about that in my last episode, and that I kind of wanted to do like other stuff around the city at the same time, as well as I was going to be missing out of some of the stuff that I would consider kind of copy and paste content. So what I'm thinking about doing, as well as working on the industrial infrastructure of the city, is I'm thinking this week we've had the start of the oil tankers and all the rest of it, and maybe next week we'll start on that highway that goes through the mountainside with a couple of interchanges that hooks up to the main highway, and we kind of fill out that mountainside nicely so we kind of get the shape of the back of the city. And then, you know, maybe the week after we start on like the sports center or something, and then maybe we come back to the docks again, or maybe we work on some more infrastructure of the actual city itself. So those are going to be my plans. I'm not just going to do like the industrial area week after week after week until it's done. I'm thinking of kind of switching things up. Not only that, but I kind of feel like it might be more interesting for you all as well, kind of seeing something a little bit different every week, rather than just knowing that it's going to be the continuation of last week's. So I'm just seeing multiple pluses towards kind of working like that. Plus, like what I've said from the beginning, I mainly do this just for fun, and mainly to just document my City Skylines stuff, because I've always built stuff, and you know, I can't really remember some of the stuff I made like a couple of years back, so it's kind of sad because you spend a lot of time doing it. Whereas now I've got like some videos and stuff, which is kind of cool. Anyways, less about that. Now, what I am going to do is I am going to leave you with the rest of the episode, and I do hope that you enjoy the very first episode of our industrial infrastructure of the city. And I hope you all have a great weekend. So like always, I'll see you all in the next one.